Marty Lenz, Airport Director here at CID. Just want to thank you all for coming out today. Certainly much better weather. If you were here last time when we broke ground on this exciting project, was a much colder experience, and I think many of us that were there, your knuckles are finally maybe working again. But today is a very special day. We're honored to have the Secretary here with us. Big part of why this project is even happening is certainly the support of the Bill ATP program on the federal side. So again, thank you. I would just open up by saying, to give some perspective, 1986, we cut the ribbon on a state-of-the-art 94,000 square foot modern terminal. When we finish this project, we will be at 240,000 square feet 40 years later. So very excited. So that's certainly thank you to all of you that are using the facility, because we don't get there without your support. Certainly the federal support, the city, the county, the state. So thank you all for using the service. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce the chair of the Airport Commission, Dwayne Smith.
Thank you, Marty. And a quick shout out to Marty and his team. You know, back to the numbers that he recited and the growth that we've had here at CID, it's due to the leadership of Marty and the whole CID team. So thank you, Marty. Thank you, Marty. Yeah, you want me to repeat that accolade for you?
Yeah, that looked kind of self-serving.
Yeah. I won't repeat it, but on behalf of the Airport Commission, I would like to thank the Secretary, Buttigieg, and his team for taking the time to tour our state-of-the-art terminal. We are proud of the work that has been done and are as excited to see the continued progress of Phase 4 of the terminal. Much of the progress has been made in part to the $20 million grant from the federal bipartisan bill for Airport Terminals program that the Secretary helped to support. I'd also be remiss if I didn't also mention the $28 million grant from the state of Iowa, the Iowa Commercial Aviation Fund. We are happy to showcase everything that has been done since the groundbreaking in early March. What a difference 2.5 months can make. We take great pride in serving as the gateway for Eastern Iowa and believe we are providing the very best and/or first and/or last impression to our community while being fiscally responsible with our investment in the region. We have received many compliments and accolades on the facility's transformation and the image that we portray. We are also pleased that these federal and state funds are going to local contractors, such as Renderneck Construction, based here in Cedar Rapids, who was chosen as the general contractor We like to hear that sound, actually. They will create an estimated 450 jobs, which also contributes to our vibrant economy. On behalf of the Airport Commission, the CID team, and the Cedar Rapids, Iowa City corridor, we thank you for your generous support of our airport and communities. And with that, I'd like to introduce Rick Peterson, member of the Local 43 since 2008. Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you for everybody coming out today. First off, this is my first time doing this. I'm usually one of those guys back there working, so bear with me. Like I said, my name is Rick Peterson. Been with Labor Local 43 since 2008. Worked for the company Renderneck, great company to work for. Want to talk a little bit about why it's so important for me to be a part of the union and some of the projects I get to work on. As a union labor, I've worked on many projects in the airport. One of them, worked on your local schools, banks, renewable energy facilities, roads, bridges, etc. and stuff. And being part of the union and stuff, I'll know I'll be able to retire with dignity and pride in the work I've done. And a big part of that's the assistance from the federal government and on jobs like this. And it lets me support my family and stuff and give me a little peace of mind. and stuff. Another big thing is like during slow times, I tend to worry, when's the next job popping up, how far I have to travel and stuff. And thanks to Mayor Pete and the Biden administration and local government and stuff, construction workers like me and the next generation take some of the weight off us. We don't have to worry and stuff, and apprentices stuff. I mean, when union labor's involved, projects get built better, our lives are better, our communities are better. So I appreciate it very much. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Mayor Tiffany O'Donnell. And Tiffany, just some background. So the city of Cedar Rapids, it starts with Mayor O'Donnell appointing the airport commission. So the city plays certainly a key role in a lot of the success out here at the airport. So,
Thank you.
Mayor.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much. Thank you, and welcome to our local officials, fellow city council members who are here today. We have state officials, we have school board officials, and certainly federal officials. Mr. Secretary, it's really a tribute. I think you know a lot of the faces in here, and it's a face of gratitude from this city, so thank you so much. We need to, first and foremost, say thank you for the investment in our great airport. None of this happens on accident. We have a saying here, you've heard me say it many times, and you'll hear it actually if you're in our airport, that welcome is our language. You heard it loudly and clearly inside our airport today. And it's really an invitation for our residents as well as our visitors to get involved and have an impact here in our community's momentum growth that we see so much on display here at our airport. We know that we are all part of this tremendous growth trajectory that we're experiencing right now. We gather here today, and for my fellow aviation buffs, how cool is it to be on a runway? This is inside baseball that most of us mere mortals don't get to be a part of. So it's just a real treat. I hear some amens out there. That's great. We're so grateful for the U.S. DOT support in this final phase of this project here, and certainly our terminal modernization project. Aviation and transportation, as residents know, have long been integral to our community's success, our past and our future. We have a deep-rooted connection here to our aviation history with the Wright brothers, who happened to pioneer flight and at one point called Cedar Rapids home, to the communications systems developed and here in Cedar Rapids that connected our NASA engineers with the Apollo 11 astronauts on their historic lunar mission, all out of that little place called Collins Aerospace. These rich ties remind us of this community's call to welcome opportunities that make the American dream accessible to all, and the call that aligns with the Biden-Harris administration's vision of building the next generation of American infrastructure while creating the good-paying jobs that my friend Rick just talked about. No area in this region better illustrates our community's growth trajectory than the rapid development and substantial investments seen right here, not just here, but just beyond here, in what we in the city call our Southwest growth area. Businesses have invested more than $1 billion in this area over the last decade, resulting in more than 1,000 new jobs and 2,200 retained jobs. Active projects in this Southwest growth area represent a potential in our state for $1.2 billion in economic development. New large warehouse and distribution facilities are leveraging connections to I-380, our nation's rail system, and of course right here at the Eastern Iowa Airport. From its humble beginnings 75 years ago with, by the way, a farmhouse serving as its great terminal, our airport has evolved today into a facility that we can all take pride in. Cedar Rapids' economic strength relies heavily on this airport. The significant investment that we mark today will not only benefit the passengers, but also contribute to the flourishing commerce and certainly workforce development of our city. I often hear from people who fly in here or are frequent users of CID that they are amazed to see the improvements and the passenger-friendly experience that they have at our airport. This work requires a lot of work and collaboration, and it's important that we recognize these efforts and the commitment of seeing valuable travel options to our community. Congratulations once again to Director Marty Lentz and his team for their leadership. It's been remarkable and how their vision has come to life here and is expanding to meet not just our current needs, but have an eye always on the future needs. We also want to thank our governor, Governor Reynolds, and the state of Iowa for their support in creating the Iowa Commercial Aviation Infrastructure Fund, which also helped make this project a reality. And on behalf of the Cedar Rapids City Council, city staff, our residents, certainly all of the local industry, we extend our sincere gratitude to Secretary Buttigieg and the U.S. DOT for their collaboration on this project. Your belief in our community's potential has been truly instrumental in securing the necessary funding to bring this vision to life here. We look forward to many future opportunities to partner with the U.S. DOT on infrastructure projects that are going to provide many more of those good-paying jobs we talked about. To be standing here today with all of you and mark the final phase of this airport's transformation is tremendous and an honor. CID is continuing to grow and is a true testament to this entire community and to our region. What an exciting day, certainly for Cedar Rapids and all of Eastern Iowa. Thank you so much, truly. It's now my pleasure to introduce our State of Iowa Auditor, Rob Sand.
Thank you, Mayor O'Donnell. Congratulations on the work that you've done for the city of Des Moines, the city of Cedar Rapids. We're in Cedar Rapids today. This is about my 7th or 9th stop of the week so far. And Marty, obviously your team and Dwayne as the chair here, you guys have done an amazing job over the last really 10 years getting this put together and bringing it to this moment here today. So congratulations to you. Well done. This is certainly an item of interest to the state auditor's office. Obviously, we review state spending and federal spending, and we've got quite a mix of that coming through here. So it was a great day for me to have an opportunity to be here today and get a good understanding of what we've got going on. It was also a major item of interest for our family, given that my wife's a business owner, business leader in Des Moines, and also on the Des Moines Airport Board. And so having an opportunity to come over here and hear about the impact that this is going to have for Cedar Rapids and hear about the impact this is going to have for Eastern Iowa is incredibly important, because these kinds of areas, when you are in a rural state like Iowa, your airports are your lifelines. Your airports are your connections to everywhere else. And everything that is coming and going from your state at some point oftentimes is coming through an airport. And when you've got just a handful of them in your state, everything that's happening at every single one of them is important to that entire state, right? So I think this is a great day for Eastern Iowa, and I'm excited to be here. There's a couple people we haven't thanked yet who really deserve our thank yous. And those are the 2 members of Iowa's federal delegation who voted for this bill. That's former Congresswoman Cindy Axne and U.S. Senator Chuck Grassley, right? Kudos to the 2 of them for looking at this package, understanding how great the need in the United States was for infrastructure spending and making the investment. And that's a little bit harder for Senator Grassley to do it, because he was working with a Democratic president, and obviously there's pressures to go against that. Again, he's the only member of Iowa's federal delegation that was a Republican to vote for that. Good for Chuck Grassley, good for Iowa. Thank you to him especially. I think it's also important to say, well, welcome back to Iowa, Mr. Secretary. I got to know Secretary Buttigieg back when he was Mayor Pete, and really got to know him pretty well. It's honestly refreshing, I think, to the people of the state of Iowa and places like Iowa, that you got a guy who grew up in a small town in the Midwest who's sitting in the cabinet meetings, right? Who's out there in D.C. who can say, well, this is what we need out here in the Midwest. This is what we need to make sure that our infrastructure is funded and our infrastructure is taken care of. And watching him do the job and seeing him on the news with a cool and calm demeanor, I think is always making me feel better, because all I want when I'm on an airplane is somebody in charge with a cool and calm demeanor, right? So thank you for coming out here. Thank you for your work on this bill. Please welcome Secretary Buttigieg.
Well, what a welcome. Thank you. Well, thanks. Thanks very much, Rob Sand. Great to be reunited with you, and appreciate your remarks. And I think they're spot on about the bipartisan nature of what led us to be able to make these investments. I also know how relentless and non-political Rob Sand is in his capacity as auditor in rooting out and finding any form of waste, fraud, and abuse. And so I think I join everybody up here in saying that when it comes to this project, it's actually my hope and expectation that you will find nothing of interest in any of what goes on as you look at it.
Mine too. My sweating.
And to the team, to Marty, to Chairman Smith, everybody on the commission and the community, you should really take a lot of pride in this work. I know you do. The pride was contagious as you were showing us around the airport. I also want to emphasize, while this bipartisan infrastructure package gave us more funds than we've ever been able to put toward things like terminal improvements, these are still extremely competitive programs. Last couple rounds we got between $10 and $15 of requests for every $1 we were able to actually say yes to. So it really does reflect very well on your planning, your process, and your team that you were successful in this grant. To Mayor O'Donnell, I always have a mayor's heart when I'm seeing these projects, as well as a transportation nerd's heart, joining you and marveling, even though it's part of my job almost every day now to be on airport aprons and tarmacs and other behind-the-scenes opportunities. There is just a basic quality that is a marvel about how these things work and serve people, and I know how important it is to your vision of prosperity and growth, and a place that gives very little literal meaning to your priority that you place on that idea of welcome, that I think is so fitting for the Midwest and so fitting in Cedar Rapids, and I feel it now. You know, my favorite thing about airports is you come out of that TSA area and you see people waiting for a returning service member, waiting for a grandparent who's going to meet their grandchild the first time. It's that idea of welcome, that idea of homecoming, that idea of reunion. And so personally, it just feels really special to see great friends and people I got to know when I was here on slightly different terms a few years ago, and see how you were thriving. And it's just a real treat to be with you. And Rick, I want to thank you for giving voice to the workers who are making all of this possible. And it's not for nothing that the official name of the bipartisan infrastructure law is the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, accent on the jobs. And first thing I saw at the window when we were pulling up to the gate was the hard hats and everybody doing this work. We recognize and salute that work, and we're proud and pleased to say that there will be a lot more where that came from in terms of a lifetime of good-paying jobs and so many union jobs being created here. They're going to make that difference. So thanks for being here, and thanks to everybody you represent. I'm really impressed to see the work that is underway, and it's a fitting time to talk about it because we estimate that today will, with its official start to the unofficial travel summer season, probably represent the busiest day of air travel America has seen since before the pandemic. And I know that people across the country have been gearing up for that, and that makes this a good time and obviously a good place to be talking about aviation. Cedar Rapids is a place that saw the importance and the potential of the Eastern Iowa Airport years ago and began investing in it then. And as everybody here knows, this has been a years-long 4-phase project to upgrade the passenger facilities and the freight facilities that the potential of this region really calls for. And none of that was easy. The team did a great job bringing it together, but it still wasn't quite fully funded to go all the way through unless there was one more bit of help. And that's where we come in, and that's why we're so glad to be here. So on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration and the U.S. Department of Transportation, we could not have been prouder to award the $20 million that are going to help this project get over the finish line. And we're so glad to be celebrating that with you here. And the whole idea of this funding is that the visions, the projects, the plans, the design, the engineering, the answers aren't going to come out of Washington, but more of the funding should. And the funding in this case is going to allow the team to complete a passenger terminal expansion that adds 4 additional passenger gates to accommodate more flights, improved accessibility for travelers with disabilities, and more ways to fly to or from eastern Iowa with the kind of frequency that gives you options and a good experience when you do so. And again, it's about the good-paying union jobs that so many Iowans are getting through this work. Not to mention the manufacturing jobs and the agriculture jobs and the tourism jobs that are going to be created and sustained because this region has high-quality, modern transportation infrastructure. We are located on Wright Brothers Boulevard, which I think is a really apt reminder that America is the country that ushered in the aviation age, and the Midwest was the cradle of a lot of that innovation. And it's appropriate then that Americans ought to have the best air travel in the world, but we've been slipping. We slipped as a country with decades of underinvestment. Someone told me I might be the first Secretary of Transportation to visit here since Secretary Elizabeth Dole in 1986. We have, I think, been, since the 1980s, needing to do more, whether it's our airports, our roads and bridges, our transit and rail and ports. And thanks to President Biden and the bipartisan leaders from both sides of the aisle who got this law done, we're doing it. I love hearing that this place started out as a house. We're funding a airport in Chamberlain, South Dakota, where it's a mobile home right now, and we're upgrading it to be a brick and mortar building, all the way through to places like O'Hare, where I started my morning, where we're involved in helping them build a whole new terminal and change their international vision. Maybe O'Hare will be home to more marriage proposals like it was for me in Chaston, with a little more square footage there. We got a new terminal coming to Pittsburgh, new gates in Orlando, better bathrooms in Chattanooga that ever since I began flying with toddlers, I have a whole new appreciation of how important that is. Faster security checkpoints, better baggage drop-off, check-in counters, custom areas, boarding zones, so many things that are going to make a difference. And that's just the airports. We are delivering about $93 million in Iowa to help make transportation infrastructure here more resilient against flooding and extreme weather, something that I need not tell Cedar Rapids about the importance of. We're helping Cedar Rapids, working on plans to make roads safer for people to walk and bike and drive. And later on, I'm going to be in Dubuque, where we're helping to design and engineer an overpass to get it across the railroad that's also going to mean a new path for walking and biking. It's going to make the road safer and support jobs in that great downtown there. So in so many ways, transportation is essential to the quality of life and economic strength and safety that we all depend on. And improvements to transportation improve our access to all of those things that make our lives meaningful. I'll just end with one reflection, which is that I come from a community where when you were growing up, so much of the message you got was that success had to do with getting out. And if you're at an airport, a lot of times it was where you'd see people who'd moved away come back maybe for holidays or special occasions at best. Now we're always glad to see people coming home for the holidays, but we're seeing people come home for a lot more than that. We're seeing people choose and move to these locations in the Midwest that are seeing their potential realized as never before. And that's something that we are proud to help make possible through these infrastructure investments. We were just in Detroit, where the leaders of transportation policy in 21 different economies, from Chile to Japan, all across the Asia-Pacific region, were gathering. I had a lot of fun explaining to them what it meant to be in the American Midwest, which might not have been obvious to the delegation from Indonesia or Hong Kong. But what I was able to tell was a story of a place that has a lot of pride, has a lot of good sense, and is committed to the kind of growth and prosperity that will only come from working together. And I am impressed, though not surprised, to see how everybody here is working together to deliver these results, and we couldn't be prouder to be teaming up with you. So thanks for everything that you're doing. Congratulations, and so pleased to be here with you once again. Take care.